Theme Park Mania is possibly my disappointment of the year. Now, this is partially on me because I love theme parks and I want board games about theme parks to be good. But it's also on the company here because this game looks amazing. Everything about this game looks amazing. I love Roller Coaster Tycoon and games like that, Theme Park Mania. You know, you're building out theme parks. So I was very excited about this one. Yeah, spoiler, it's not a very good game. Let's take a look at it and we'll be back. There's a high possibility that I'll get some of the rules wrong in this game because the rule book is pretty bad. You're going to pick how long you want the game to be, and you'll pick a starting board, I think. On your turn, you have various actions that you can do. One of them is you can build paths. So you draw some path tiles, and you'll connect them to open path tiles if you can fit them in. You know, once per game, you can build your own little path tile here if you need to. But as you build these paths, you are going to get money. That's how you get money, is by building paths, depending on how many players are in the game. You can also build tracks. You have to start with your station, and then after that, you draw a track. Well, that ain't going to fit in there, but hey, I have this little one I can build in there. You have one of those little ones. And after that, you're just connecting tracks to move around the board. You can also build a ride or a facility. So you build the top ride from this pile of rides that you have here. And so I'll draw this ride, Ferris Go Wild or Summer Splash. By the way, I don't love that this board is a top-down board and then you just get a poster of these things. But these are going to need to be next to the paths here. The paths, you're going to need to be able to place them next to a path. You'll have to pay the cost for the ride to put it out there. It's $4 for the ride. But you also have to put out a facility if you want to, if you have any facilities. And there's going to be a lot of facilities in the game. Some match specific rides. Some are more generic and can go anywhere. And that's another action, is you can build facilities. You can also hire employees. Employees will cost a certain amount of money. You have to hire a mechanic before you can build any rides. You have to hire an operator before anyone can ride any rides. You can also hire security and mascot. And cards these all cost money to build them, and they're also worth a victory point at the end of the game. Once 4 of these have been built, the park is now open, and now there's a 6th action that you can take, which is playing cards. When you play cards, you're simply going to move the number of spaces. You're going to move your people. They're going to be running here from the beginning. There's going to be buses that come in, and they're going to be running from that's many spaces as you move around the board. So you'll be playing them, moving your people. There are sometimes random cards that will come up. Hey, build a free facility. That's a great card to get. And then here's a malfunction. You can put a malfunction on a ride, it doesn't work. And these guys are going to go and get to rides. You're going to try to get to the different rides. If you visit a ride, so let's say this ride is out here, and my meeple comes out here, and I'll go through a ticket booth, because you have to have a ticket booth. When you build a ride, you'll put ticket booths here. My meeple will come into the ride, and they enter the park, and I collect the entrance fee from the bank. So when I put the meeple on the ride, but then I pay the cost of the ride, which is here, to the owner. Now, I don't get it either. I don't understand what the point is, how they're getting money for building rides, but you kind of want to do it to yourself, get on your own rides if at all possible. You can also travel by train. If you get on one station to get to the other, you can take loans out from a bank, and then you fill your hand back up to 5. There are so many other things, and I want to point out that I think the rule book looks nice. This looks like a gorgeous rule book, but they mention some things 6 times and other things none. And this is what your park is supposed to look like. It won't, because you get extra points if you completely surround your rides like this. And of course, that requires you drawing the exact paths to make that happen. Was this game play tested? I kind of have to assume that this game was not played with honest gaming playtesters. First of all, that rule book is crazy in how good it looks, and yet it doesn't tell you stuff. It tells you some things 4 times, and other times it doesn't tell you at all, or it's like on a note somewhere. So that's one problem. Secondly, the tiles and how they come out. You can have just curve and then straight. And I'm like, well, we need this part to come back around so we can build something, and it's going off the table. You can't even control that. The trains are the same thing. And you have to build these tiles to get money. Then there's the employees. So you have to build a mechanic to build a ride. And that's one of the actions you can take, is build a mechanic. Everyone has to take that action once per game. Why does that exist? Why does everyone not just start with a mechanic? Like, I have to take one. I have to buy one. So I'll buy a mechanic. What are you going to do? Buy a mechanic. Because it's like one of the first two things you have to do, and everyone does it. And then once you have a ride, everyone has to buy an operator. It's not like you have to buy an operator for each ride or a mechanic to keep things running. No, it's a required action. And so that mixed with the randomness of where the roads go, mixed with the randomness of things, and then the game is just really weird and clunky. You have these random cards. It's like roll and move. They just took the roll and move and put it in the cards. And then when I go on your ride, I pay you money, and I get points, and I leave the person on the ride to show that I visited that ride, and the whole thing feels clunky. This is such a... there's nothing I like about the game other than the components are tremendously cool. And the train doesn't work, and it bothers me because they show the pictures and everything looks great in those pictures. I showed you the train goes around the park, and I can move my guy here and over here. But when you just have random negative events happening that may or may not need these people that you may or may not have bought, you want to surround your ride, but that's almost impossible based on the winding paths, and anyone can just mess you over at any time. We were almost like, hey, we should play this game cooperatively because we're feeling so bad about it. It's such a terrible game, and you were about to put a ride there, and guess what? You can't. So disappointing. Theme Park Mania. I'm just sad. I wanted to love this game. When will we get an amazing theme park game? There's some good ones out there, but there's none out there that's like, this is one of the best. There's none in my top 100. I wish there was, but anyway, this is not even anywhere close to that. This is a 3 out of 10, and I think I'm being generous there just because of how nice the whole production looks. Theme Park Mania, I really can't recommend.